masculine pose. One of the biggest disconnect in modern day partnering is that the source of the information, the disconnect is where one attains the information. Now, there's documentaries floating around about the red pill and manosphere, talk about how men are are being radicalized to hate women because men are talking about, oh, women are this, women are three or fours, and everything else is being radicalized so that the manosphere or the MGTOW or red pill, it's demonized. Now, it's not funny because when you and I were growing up, we saw the Ricky Lake show, we saw Oprah, and we saw all these, even Everybody Loves Raymond, TV shows that depicted men in a very goofy way. Men were not esteemed. It's not like the Cosby Show, which a man was a man. But these daytime talk shows empower women to talk anyhow. And men are they to avoid conflict, they played along. They're, you know that you're outnumbered. You know that you cannot out talk a woman, especially a woman like Oprah who had money, who has got money, and it's her show. So you don't get to put your narrative across and win. So whenever a man, even Dr. Phil, all these daytime talk shows, they favorite the female angle. So all the manosphere has been, yes, of course, I know that there's some guys who are extreme over there. Everybody likes to reference Andrew Tate and Sneeko, or the fresh and fit guys, but there's a lot of guys who are very sound, like Manosphere Highlight Daily. I found that channel and I think he's a wise person. Ed Moore, very balanced individuals, very learned individuals. Pastor Orgy. I just bumped into all these people in this space that are sound minded who, if I had a son, I want them to subscribe to these worldviews. Of course, you can't take on everything that the man says. Nobody's going to be perfect. But the truth of the matter is, and this is what the point I'm trying to make in this video, is that when you start to reference this quality individuals, I think the quality, and if my son was able to learn from these individuals as far as the game to be put up on game, versus the females, their source of information, that's why we're running into a negative space. And that's why females are getting hurt. Because when a man sees that he can access you and your track of thought is pay my bills, do this for me, do all that for me, he's gonna be like, man, I barely know you. Why is it that you expect me to do all these things? So the source of the female information is not exactly sound or compatible with a long-term anything. The source of the information that females are receiving from. So, and the likelihood for a female to come from a good source of information is less and less because she's not going to get it in the church. She's not going to get it in school. She's not going to get it in university. You can say, well, how come she's not going to get it in church? Because those pastors trying to get paid. They're trying to get that bread. So they're going to tell her, God, this is your season to be empowered. What did T.D. Jakes teach women? Woman, thou art loose. What did Steve Harvey teach women? Think like a man, something like that. And he saw the whole lot. So the society is geared towards making women feel good. Now, when you're raising a child, you cannot lean towards making them feel good. That's the worst way to deal with a child if you're trying to raise a child. So women are being treated like whatever it is you want, we're going to give it to you. If any man makes you feel uncomfortable, we can persecute him. So now men are, they're retaliating by retreating. And it's within their right. Just like you were born and you won't die, And man was born and he's going to die. So let him use his time on this earth in a fruitful manner. So what do women do? Because they're feeling the backlash of the men not participating in dating things or sites. They start to shame him. That's not the way you win friends. You don't throw rocks. Why are you over there? Why are you not coming to talk to us? When all this time, their source of information, their advisory board is toxic. And men are being told just make money, work on yourself, move discreetly. Yes, of course, some men they do too much of that, too much yakking. But I find that the source, yes, I've seen a few ladies online that give good advice, but for the most part, women are leaning towards that which is trending. That's why you see all of them, in the gym, they're wearing tiny little shorts that they show the vagina print because they go with what's trending. They're not going to lean towards that lady who's wholesome, who's wearing that Ethiopian dress or is wearing that Nigerian outfit. They're not going to lean towards that. They gravitate towards, and y'all forbid what's occurred now is that people are getting rewarded on Facebook for putting out promiscuous content. So story time, somebody going to tell you everything. I slept with 10 men. There was a 12-year-old Nigerian girl. She said she got with 10, 11 men. 12-year-old, 12 years old. And she made the content herself, knowing that she going to get some type of traction. She going to get some type of money. But the thing is, her friends going to see that. I'm like, I want to be like her. And then there's old women that's still putting out nonsense that women subscribe to. So that's their source of information. So the likelihood for a man to bump into a woman that is drinking from the right source, because it takes a whole lot of discipline for a woman to drink from the right source, because the whole world is calling her. Participate in the fakery of the nails, in the fakery of the lashes. Participate in this Dubai potty patty. Because it's weird how Dubai is known as a dirty place as far as we're concerned. When we hear Dubai as men, we know that, hey, what was you doing over there? But yet, ladies don't mind going there real quick. Quick and in a hurry, they go there. While men just build slowly. That's why there is a vast chasm in between men and women. It's almost like men have to, like the modern day woman is not compatible with the modern day man. The modern day man still has traditional values. That's why there's a big difference. And of course, the modern day woman, she can be duplicitous sometimes. So then the man will participate in the long term rituals to believe he got a mate, and then he got down dirty. And all of a sudden, and women will be like, oh, I was the good woman, the man did me dirty. I'm not excusing a man can be bad, but on a whole cultural level, what's acceptable behavior from women? Women are doing the most devilish stuff. And men gets caught doing certain things, he's gone. The majority of men are raising children that are not theirs. Or women say, oh, you shouldn't care. Oh, I felt neglected. So I had to get my coochie done because you was working too much. It's a lose-lose situation in this day and time. That's why I believe we're in the end times. It's a lose-lose as far as relation-wise. But let me tell you what's working very well. Sleeping around anyhow is very easy. If you want to be loose as a man, sleeping. Women are very easy access. Very easy. You can access professional athletes. You can access business ladies. You can access them. But the moment you desire something in a serious manner, something that's wholesome, something that the Most High will be proud of, you want, like, you can even pick them from the church. I'm not a church person, but you can even pick them from the church, and you're gonna have the same problems. And yet they're gonna cry, "Well, the good man." I said enough. Peace, love, and blessings.